Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 3, Bhagavad-Gita, text number 12. Ishtan Bhogan Hi Vo Deva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Tayar Datan Apradayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa Ishtan Bhogani Vodeva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Taddatam Apradayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa Istan Bhogani Vodeva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Tayardatan Apradayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa. Okay. Istan Bhogani Vodeva Dasyante Davita Daidatan Apidayebhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa Ishtan Bhogani Vodeva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Yantan Aparabdayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa Ishtan Bhogani Vodeva Dasyante Yagya Bhavita Tayardatan Apradayabhyo Yo Bhunkte Stena Evasa. Any ladies? Ishtan Bhogani Vodeva Shante Bhavita Tyardatana parabdevyo yo bhunkte stena eva sa Ishtan bhogani vo deva dasyante yagya bhavita Tyardatan apradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena eva sa. Very good. So many. Ishtan, desired. Bhogan, necessities of life. He, certainly. Va, unto you. Deva, the demigods. Dasyante, will award. Yagya bhavita, being satisfied by the performance of sacrifice. Tai, by them. Datan, things given. Apradaya, without offering. Ebhya, to these demigods. Ya, he who. Bhunkte, enjoys. Stena, thief. Eva, certainly. Sa, he. Heavy one here. Translation. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied with the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is a thief. Certainly a thief. Okay. Want to repeat it, everybody, at once? Read it. Everybody. Report. The demigods are authorized supplying agents on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yajna. In the Vedas, there are different kinds of yajna prescribed for different kinds of demigods, but all are ultimately offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who cannot understand what the Personality of Godhead is, sacrifice to the demigods is recommended. According to the different material qualities of the persons concerned, different types of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, and ghastly form of material nature. And before the goddess, the sacrifice of animals is recommended. But for those who are in the mode of goodness, the transcendental worship of Vishnu is recommended. But ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas known as Pancha Mahayajna are necessary. One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that the human society requires are supplied by the demigod agents of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Take, for example, all the eatables in human society: grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc. For the persons in the mode of goodness, and also eatables for the non-vegetarians, like meat, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, take, for example, heat, light, water, air, etc., which are also necessities of life. None of them can be manufactured by the human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, etc., without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord, even if our manufacturing enterprises, we require so many raw materials like metal, sulfur, mercury, manganese, and many essentials, all of them which are supplied by the agents of the Lord, with the purpose that we should make proper use of them to keep ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self-realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggle for existence. The aim of life is attained by performance of yoga. If we forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratification and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation, certainly we become thieves. Therefore, we are punished by the laws of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy because they have no aim in life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yoga. Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yoga, namely the Sankirtan yoga, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principles of Krishna consciousness. I don't know how many times Prabhupada ends or puts somewhere in the purport in the lecture this sentence, that the Sankirtan yoga is all we need. And the demigod yajnas are done by people that don't fully understand Krishna, because they think the demigod is supplying everything. But to do it right, first you worship Vishnu, and then after you make all the offerings in the yajna, the prasad goes to Vishnu, because it's Vishnu prasad that's offered to the deities. First everything's offered to Vishnu, but most people don't do that. They don't know that. They think the individual demigod is the all in all. So nowadays everyone practically, even people who so-called worship demigods, they don't really do yajna, the way it's supposed to be done. So everyone is a thief. I was thinking about that. I was chanting in Bali on the beach. So, there's people lying in the sun trying to enjoy. There's people surfing. They got, so many different ways of surfing now. They got kites, so they're taking the mercy of Vayu, taking the mercy of Varuna, everybody, But they never do any yajna. They never offer anything back. They just take. So what happens to the world is, everybody's doing that. What to speak of all their food, everything they do, all our clothes. And the only way to really cover it is to worship Krishna, the Supreme Lord, the demigods have to take permission from him. If you worship a demigod, they have to take permission. Can I give this guy what he's asking for? And then they have to take it from Vishnu. So they worship Vishnu. They know, but sometimes they get carried away, like Indra. They forget that they're dependent on Vishnu, but he's supplying everything. And people never think about that. One time in Japan, I was just there, first there, and one of the devotees, he was an English teacher. So they called and they asked, is he home? We need a substitute teacher. He wasn't home, so I said, okay, I'll do it. So I went, and it was 2 classes. One was a beginner class, which was interesting. And it was from a book. They had the text. And it was the husband come home and the wife is complaining he's not making enough money, and what's wrong with him and why isn't he working overtime and everything. I thought that was pretty strange.
That was in the book?
Yeah, it was in the English lesson book. Because that's life, especially in Japan. Mostly the men after work, they go out drinking and partying. I heard sometimes if they come home early, the wife says, "What's wrong? Nobody likes you? Why did you come home early? You're not going to make advancement in your job, see, unless you party with them." Anyway, the other one was a conversation, advanced people. So I said, "What do you usually talk about?" And one of them said, "Well, John always talks about politics, but we don't like politics." So I said, "Well, I always wondered, what do Japanese people think about God?" And one said, "It's very, very sad. Japanese people never think of God." The fifth canto, the subterranean planets, subterranean heavenly planets. Everybody lives underground and artificial light, and they're all householders, and they don't have any religion, they don't believe. That's Japan. It's a perfect description. You have to go there to see it, to believe it. So anyway, I was asking him, what is your work? So the one, he was big man. He was, building water purification center systems in other countries, big. He was a director, the engineer or something. So I just said, well, humans can purify water, but they can't manufacture water. And they just flipped out. They said, "Wow, I never thought of that. That's amazing, And it's like kindergarten for devotees, right? Any religious person, anybody that has a belief in God knows that God is providing everything. But nowadays, people don't even know that. They just think it's 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. That's water. And Prabhupada says, where did the hydrogen and oxygen come from? You can't manufacture that either. I guess you can gather them from the sky and make water, but you're not really making anything. So this is a sad state of affairs. And even if people worship God, they're just asking, they don't give him anything. They think, he's supposed to give me. So Prabhupada said, Krishna's not your order supplier. You just say, I want, call up and you call up now. I don't know if in India they have that now. Whenever I go on YouTube for the Prabhupada lectures, the commercials come all the time, Zomato, any kind of food you want delivered to your house, we've got everything, And if you're not sitting right in front of it, to turn it off, just go on and on. The newer stuff, the ISKCON Desire Tree, they don't use all those commercials, but the old ones, every 5 minutes, somebody's squawking away, for something. But that one was in English, we got every kind of food would deliver to your house right away. Hellish. But, so that's what they think that God is. You just call up and order something and he's supposed to give it to you. Then they complain. Some people get things, they don't realize it. Maybe they did yoga in their last life. Because a simple example, 2 people with the same education, same skills, they're both working to get something, and one gets everything he tries for and the other one loses everything every time. They have the same degree from Harvard and they have, they're both working hard. One succeeds, so-called material life, one doesn't. Spiritual life, fortunately, is not like that. Spiritual life does not depend on our past karma. It's just mercy. And when Prabhupada was asked, what is the secret or advancing? He said desire. That's all. Shruti Kirta said car was driving away and somebody ran and asked Prabhupada. He said desire. Just as the car drove off, you know. If you want and you make the effort according to the proper instructions, we get the result. We get spiritual advancement. Material advancement is not independent of our, you know, based, like so many people are teaching, you just do this formula, you just work this way, you do that way, and you'll get rich like me. But not everybody does. Anudama Prabhu, our Minister of Communication, he told me when his wife's father died, he was always very poor, in spite of being Jewish. And when they cleaned out the house, he had so many how to get rich books. But he never got rich. You know, you're looking for that secret. And people ask, how do you advance in Krishna consciousness? They think it's like that, you know, you get a degree and then you do this and then you study this and you get another degree, and how long does it take? It can take 1 second, it can take 100 million lifetimes, depending on what your effort is and what you want, you know. If we want love of Krishna, which means unalloyed service, then Krishna will give it. But usually not instantly, but we see people join Hare Krishna, you know, right away, you're busy, right? If you really move in an ashram, like they still have in some country, you know, immediately you have to getting up early, you're chanting, you're taking prasadam, you're, you know, worshiping the deity, you know, you're going out for Sankirtan. In the old days, somebody move in and the next day they say, drop them off somewhere and here's a bunch of books and we'll be back tonight, you know. Krishna will help you. And, you know, we got strong. You get strong from that. So Krishna engages, and there's room for any number of people to serve Krishna. He's not limited. For a job, you know, there's a limited number of positions. You know, many foreign companies are making factories in India. I read about one, they needed some number, 1,500 or something employees, and they were specific between certain ages, like 18 to 25 or something. And they got like 10,000 applications. Not everybody can get it, but Krishna can take care of everybody, you know, for serving Krishna. In the material world, you can stand in line all day and maybe nothing happens. You can work all day in the company and be the most submissive, hard worker, and nobody cares. Someone else will come along who's got connections and get all the promotions. But for Krishna, some people work really hard, but they have the wrong motive, so they don't get very far. Other people have a good motive, they're not expert at anything, but they get blessings, they get advanced. People ask for blessings. One rich man, he asked me for blessings, which means I'm supposed to, you know, whatever you do is great, you know, thank you. But when I thanked him for something he did, he said, why you thank him? I said, well, that's what we do. That's what Krishna is grateful. Krishna likes to thank everybody. Prabhupada always, and then right after I talked to him, I was listening to Mahatma Prabhu. Somebody asked him something like that. And he said he had one disciple and he always thanks him. And the disciple, why are you thanking me? No, it's my duty. He said, no, Prabhupada always thanked disciples for their service. I saw it, even though I wasn't close. He came in the temple one day, every day, and then he sat down, and after the Govindas was over and everything, he said, who made this dress for the deities? and they said Shilavati, I think, and he said, "Thank you very much." You know, he did that kind of stuff all the time. He was grateful. He was like Krishna. So we have to be thanking Krishna for whatever he gives us, because we're getting what's the best for us. And he's given us Sankirtan movement. That's for everybody. None of us could do any proper demigod yoga. You know, it requires a lot of things. Plus knowing all the mantras and chanting them just right. No, you know, so nobody nowadays, they can't even do that properly. In the big yajnas, they had to be very careful choosing the brahmanas. You know, they're all pure, they have to test everybody. And then they had like a referee checking, and if they pronounced some mantra wrong, they would tell them. I heard it was some years ago, and they tried to do one in South India, and they just kept arguing, "No, I didn't, I did it right," you know. Everybody didn't agree with everybody else's pronunciation. So we can't do all these things, and you know, that take huge amounts of gold and jewels and ghee to do a really big yajna. And if you can't afford yajnas, and it's described, then there's all kinds of fasting, but you know, it's very strict fasting for a long time. Eating only once a day for years, or, you know, many things, like many different ones. And then you can get the same results, or a poor person can do that. But Lord Chaitanya, he took care of everything. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sankirtan Yajna, that's here, it's the last part of the purport. If somebody is inclined, if you have the Veda base, you can search Sankirtan Yajna and see how many times it shows up. Be many 10,000s, you know. Almost every lecture, almost every purport. The only way, the only thing that can help the world, there's no other way, you know. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam. So if we have faith in that, and you know, somehow ISKCON is still doing it. Prabhupada's push, you know, is still going on. It's going on more and more and more. Devotees chanting everywhere, you know. When Lord Chaitanya started the Sankirtan movement, then the Brahmanas got worried. And they told the Qazi, it's bogus, it's not Hinduism, you know, you're not supposed to chant loud, it'll disturb Vishnu. And Qazi took that seriously because they were the big pundits. But Bhakti-Vinod Thakur in the Jaiva Dharma, he's got one conversation that the Brahmins had. He said, that Nimai, he's ruining our business. You know, we had a good, you know, what do they call it? You got monopoly on yajnas. Nobody can do any yajna without us paying, you know. And that's still going on. We had trouble in Bali, for instance. Came from the Brahmanas who make a business of yajna. But the intelligent ones, they appreciate the real yajna. They know it's helping everybody. So gradually they invite devotees, you know, for their big festivals. They want to have our kirtan. It happens everywhere. So this is the Maha Yajna, and in Kali Yuga the only effective yajna. There's no way anyone could do a Rajasuya Yajna. Only like Yudhishthira, somebody can do that. You know. They wouldn't even let Duryodhana do it, even though he was an all-powerful king and had unlimited wealth. He couldn't do that one. But ultimately they're all for, you know, material benefit for the kingdom. So if you're worshipping Vishnu, the demigods are satisfied because they're all part and parcel of Krishna, and then they provide what we need. But now, so few people are worshipping anybody. They may say they have some religion, I'm this, I'm that, but they're not doing any yoga, they're not following the real principles of the religion. They're just asking God, or, thinking, these preachers, God will give you everything, God wants you to be rich, just, worship to me, you'll get rich, and they become very popular. But like in Nigeria, there's so many of these. The preacher, he's flying around in a private jet, looks like a mafia businessman or something, and you see the pictures and it's like, and they call themselves apostle or something, and they're promising, you'll get rich by coming to my church, and people think, well, he's rich, so. But if it worked, everyone in the country would be rich, but it's one of the poorest countries. Everyone goes to church on Sunday. Any Sunday morning, everything's closed, and you see everybody all dressed up going to church. And they're giving everything they have, Poorest people go and give all their money, street fruit sellers and stuff. Because they have no other hope of ever getting rich. And the church keeps promising them, and they have a few people testify. They used to testify I was crippled and now I can walk. And now they just say I was poor, I was down and out, I was selling, bananas on the street. And now I've got 5 Mercedes-Benz and 10 houses. And people, I'll go to that church. And there's Hindu so-called incarnations, same. Everywhere you find that. Even Buddhists, promising this, you go to this temple, you'll get rich. Totally against, Prabhupada said nobody, Muhammad, Buddha, Jesus, they always said get out of the material world. They never say you should try to stay in, get rich and build up your treasures in this world. They never said that. They said get out, think of the next life. But people don't talk about that. They just make up their own thing, and people don't know because they don't read. So we are always encouraged to read the Bhagavad-Gita, read it again and again, and, encourage other people to read it. Prabhupada said, again, many times also, if you don't read the books, you'll never understand. You have to learn things. So this Indian man who asked me for blessings, I said, the blessings are Prabhupada's books. To read, please read Nectar Devotion, at least the first section, so you want to help the temple so you know what it's supposed to be. You're not going by your upbringing in the Hindu family. I didn't say that, but that's the blessings. Many times South Indians especially, they come, give me blessing. I say, okay, chant Hare Krishna. No, give me blessing. So what's the use? They won't even say Hare Krishna. They just say, just put your hand on my head. And my hand doesn't have any power. And just cheating, Then they go away thinking I've got so much spiritual blessings today. No, you chant Hare Krishna, that's a blessing. Read Bhagavad-Gita, that's a blessing. Devotees are very, determined, because that's a yoga. Distributing books is also the Sankirtan yoga. Distributing prasadam. Because it's giving people the holy name. Prabhupada said, Bhakti-Siddhanta, when his disciples would present some article they wrote, he would count how many times Krishna Chaitanya's name, say, okay, it's good. And they would feel bad as he didn't read it. And Prabhupada said, so if my books have any value, at least Krishna's name is many times on every page. So, so anybody who reads it, they're going to be hearing the holy name. They'll start to think about Krishna. They'll start to wonder, what is this? And hopefully they want to read more and more. Because we're supposed to renounce and not be chasing after treasures in this world, but it doesn't mean you have to live on this. People think, oh, I have to give up everything. I can't have a family. I can't have any money. I got to wear a loincloth. No. That's voluntary for a very small percentage of Vaishnavas. But you have to realize what? Who does it really belong to? Right? If we think this is mine, then we're an illusion. Everything belongs to Krishna, including us. So that's what we have to realize. If you're completely poor or you're fabulously rich, if you know this is all belongs to Krishna, and whatever I have to use it for Krishna. Even one big Christian preacher, he says, whatever you have, you should be preaching. You should be spreading the glories of God. Don't think I need money first, or I need talent, or I need singing lessons. Just do it. God has given you whatever is perfect for you. Krishna has done that. So all kinds of people, anyone can glorify Krishna in their own capacity. Anyone can ask someone to chant Hare Krishna or write Hare Krishna on the wall. Like that sadhu who put the Radhe Radhe all over. He just left his body. He just did that all day long. I suppose other people will take it up, but I saw something that I hadn't noticed, but there's so many hellish advertisements all over Vrindavan. So on the Prikrama tail, there's some doctor, supposedly sex doctor, he's just covered all the walls. Somebody said all the way to Govardhan. They don't know how he did it, because they're all painted big letters. And advertising, furniture with a very not half-dressed woman, almost not dressed. This is supposed to be the holy Dham. I saw one advertisement for luxury flats one time down the road there. So they showed an Indian woman in an evening gown, Western evening gown, not covering very much on the top, in front of some kind of opulent house. It said, buy it now because you only live once. So get this luxury room in Vrindavan now because you only live once. Completely opposite of Bhagavad, you live forever. But they advertise your eternal home in Vrindavan with all amenities, cable television, and everything you need to stay out of Vrindavan while you're in Vrindavan. Right? So, we want to absorb ourselves in the holy name and Bhagavad-Gita. Prabhupada said, no matter where he was, he said, I'm not in Los Angeles, I'm in Vrindavan. But many people come to Vrindavan, but they're not in Vrindavan, they're somewhere else. It's easy nowadays to, be somewhere else. Forget, this is the holy Dham, it's Krishna's place. And anyone who comes here is especially blessed by Krishna, whatever their motive is, because they can come to the holy Dham. Then it's our duty to, like this temple is doing, to give them the holy name and give them books and, beautiful darshan, and Prabhupada arranged all this, so he wanted so many people to come. before the temple opened, he said, who would ever come to, this is so far away. What to speak of far from America, but far from Europe, and far from Delhi then, and even far from Vrindavan town. It's always still amazing. I first came in 75, so then things were growing, but between here and Fogal Ashram there was nothing. We stayed in Fogal Ashram, and we'd walk to Mangalartik, and you'd hear the pigs, you know, because people were passing on the side of the road, and the pigs were feasting, you know, and they're making all that noise. Now there's completely built up with, you know, luxury restaurants and luxury hotels and so-called luxury, but they're coming to Vrindavan, and they're coming to this temple, so that, you know, as long as we're exposing everybody, they're all getting benefit. So, and everywhere we go, we're trying to bring people, trying to tell them about Krishna. When they know enough about Krishna, they're going to think, oh, let's go to India, let's find out, you know, where this all comes from. So this is the essence of the whole purport, is this last sentence, right? Lord Chaitanya, however, inaugurated the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtan yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accepts the principles of Krishna consciousness, and anywhere in the world. Sankirtan means chanting. Sankirtan means everybody chanting. Not just one person chanting, everybody. So do it wherever you are. One person can be chanting, you know. I was just, Indraduna Maharaj was talking about festivals, and he had a bunch of quotes. And said, even, you know, you're just chanting alone in your house, it's a festival. It's affecting the whole world. You know, what to speak of, you know, when we make a big festival and open grounds where anybody can come in, or any Rath Yatra or something. And Prabhupada said, anyone even sees the cart go by, you know, they'll remember it at the time of death. What to speak if they follow it, you know, and join for a little while. It happens a lot. I was in Israel one time at the Dead Sea, and the lifeguard, she called out, she said, are you a Hare Krishna? I said, yeah, kind of. She said, me too, kind of, sort of, I don't know. And she had been in Amsterdam, just lost, and the Rath Yatra went by, so she followed it. And she never forgot. So, you know, that might be the only thing she does, but then she saw me, and, you know, she knew I was a Hare Krishna because he knew what we looked like. So, you know, it's spreading like anything, and we have to keep up to keep spreading it. Stick with this yajna. It's the only yajna that's effective in this age. All the problems in the world nothing else can solve all the problems of the world. You know, they're all manifesting here like anything, but, you know, the plastic, and of course it's terrible, but the people are the trouble. They use so much, they throw everything anywhere and everywhere, and, you know, until people uplift their consciousness, the abandoned cow is being ignored, and all these things can only be helped. We can't help all the beggars, we can't help all the cows, it's impossible. But if we just dedicate everything to spreading Krishna consciousness, more and more people get uplifted, and then they take up all these good works. All right, so with any comments, questions, corrections? Huh? You got a microphone? Because this fan is especially noisy. Anybody out there in internet land or radio land? We don't have a call-in. Any comment? Any doubts?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you for the nice class. Whatever offered to demigods, they pass on to Lord Krishna still. Supposing offering is done to demigods, they pass on to the spiritual person God and Krishna.
You're supposed to offer the demigods Krishna Prasad. Like in Bhubaneswar, there's a big Shiva temple. It's actually just as big as Jagannath, but it's underground to start, so it's not as tall. And Lord Chaitanya took prasadam there. So people question, we're not supposed to take demigod prasad. But that temple, and very nearby there's a big Ananta Vasudev temple. And they cook there the same way they cook in Puri, you know. And then they offer to Shiva after it's offered to Vishnu. So that's the proper way to worship demigods. If you just offer directly to the demigod, it's not what they want. I don't know if they offer it to Krishna, or they get carried away like Indra. You know, what are they doing? They're not offering to me. You know, he liked the Indra puja, but he wasn't thinking it. You know, he knew Vishnu. He didn't recognize that Krishna was Vishnu. So that's the thing with, you know, demigod worship is you know, the Hindujas. They're very nice Hindus. And one of the brothers, he told me, we're not sure who the Supreme Lord is. So we worship everybody. You know, Mondays Shiva, Tuesdays Durga, Wednesdays, you know, different days for different, one day for Vishnu, but we're not sure, so we don't want to take any chances. So that's not, you know, they have to understand it, Krishna. Krishna covers everything. The demigods will be happy. They're not being ignored. They're afraid of it, ignoring the demigods, you know, by just worshiping Krishna. But that's what the demigods really want. That nourishes them. So we don't have to, you know, we don't do any separate demigod. If people are worshiping demigods, then we try to teach them, because, you know, it's been in their family for a long time. We try to teach them, you know, worship Vishnu first and offer the prasadam. And they like Hare Krishna Kirtan also. Right? Narada Muni Bhajavina. And all the demigods went wild and ecstasy in the Kirtan. They like Krishna Kirtan. So we teach people how to really worship the demigod. And gradually they're worshiping Krishna and they won't worry so much. Yes, sir? Very loud, because this is very noisy.
Desires. We always ask Lord to, we want this one, fill up my desire, this one, that one, we ask Lord every time. And Lord is filling us over whatever desires are there. So sometimes some desires are not fulfilled. So we get disturbed when some desires are not fulfilled. So how we can overcome that, whatever Lord is giving us, we should be satisfied.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. By chanting Hare Krishna, by strictly worshipping Krishna, reading, you know, you're not supposed to other things come, you know, Krishna, if we're sincere, but we're still bewildered by different desires, He won't give us anything that might distract us from worshipping Him, because He's concerned about our spiritual advance. Sometimes He gives things that, you know, if He knows you're going to use it for Krishna. But if He knows you might get distracted and bewildered, then He won't. Because it happens many times. When I was in Chicago Temple in the 70s, there was one brahmachari, and he was like really renounced. You'd find him hiding in America. They had the furnace room, you know, because the building has a huge furnace, and he'd be hiding in there reading Bhagavad-Gita. His parents were very rich and very nice, favorable. They both got killed in a airplane crash, and he inherited, you know, this big mansion and millions of dollars, and he gave up Krishna consciousness. Started enjoying his wealth, and I don't know where he is now, but, you know, in danger. So we should be careful what we desire, and even when we're desiring things, think, do I really, you know, why do I want this? How am I going to use it in Krishna's service? Because it's easy to start thinking, I can use this, and I can also use that, and I can use this, and all these things I'll use for my preaching. But not always the case. Is that all right? So be careful what you desire.
Thank you.
All right? I want Krishna. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadish kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhakti ahoita toi. And like Dhruva, you know, when he had big material desires. But then when he saw Vishnu, then he thought, this is really stupid. All right? Okay, time is exactly 1 hour after we started. It's okay? Huh? All right, so thank you very much for attending. A little bit bigger than other days. It's not quite so hot today, right? It's still pretty hot, but it was cloudy all morning. Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai. Krishna Balaram Mandir ki jai. Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Gaur